Hi my dear students, welcome to my biology class. Let me begin today's class with a question. Have you ever seen a cell with your naked eyes? Yes, of course you might have seen a cell. Now you look at this. This is a hen's egg. It's an example of a cell that can be seen with our naked eyes. You know that the egg is made up of an outer hard shell. The outer hard shell is made up of calcium carbonate. Inner to the hard shell there is a membrane. The membrane protects the yolk and albumin of the egg. It is a cell which is 1000 times bigger than a normal cell. A normal cell can be seen only through a powerful microscope. Then have you seen a soft egg like this? You look at this, you can see that how soft it is. Do you want to know how I made this soft egg? I kept the egg in vinegar or acetic acid for 2 days. After 2 days, the outer hard shell of the egg dissolved in acetic acid so that I got the soft egg. The soft egg membrane can act as a semi-permeable membrane. You can also try this at home. Put an egg in the vinegar for 2 days. You will also get one soft egg like this. The egg membrane can act as a semi-permeable membrane or a selectively permeable membrane. Semi-permeable membrane is the membrane that allows the entry and exit of some selected molecules across it. Here the egg membrane can allow the movement of water through it, so it acts as a semi-permeable membrane. To learn more about today's topic, I have done an activity for you. Look at these eggs which are kept in 2 glass tumbler. See, one is in the water, the other one is in the salt solution. I made a soft egg, so I could de-shell the egg with the acetic acid. The de-shelled eggs I kept both in normal water and in salty water. You can observe the change of the size of the egg after a few minutes after putting it in normal water. So size increases. That means the cell swells up. Something happens. What happened here? The water molecules from the surrounding medium entered into the cell. So the size of the egg increased. Did you get it? Here what happened? I kept this egg, de-shelled egg, in the salty solution. But here an opposite incident happened. Instead of the swollen egg, here I have got a shrunken egg. The cell lost its water to the medium because the medium is a concentrated solution of salt. What did you get from this activity? Water moves in and out of the cell through a semi-permeable membrane. I have told you that the egg membrane can act as a semi-permeable membrane. So water can move through this semi-permeable membrane. So the movement of water from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane is called osmosis. So today we are going to learn about the topic osmosis. Are you ready now? Now let's learn more about osmosis. Osmosis is the movement of water across a semi-permeable membrane from a region of high water concentration to a region of low water concentration. Now you can observe the diagrammatic representation of osmosis. You can do one activity at home to study endosmosis. So look at here. So here you can see some dried raisins. This is very familiar to you. Dried raisins. If we keep these dried raisins in water for a few hours, what would happen? Water will move into the dried raisins. So here you can observe the swollen raisins. I kept the raisins in water for a few hours, so it became swollen. So here you can observe the swollen raisins. Here what happened? Endosmosis. Water here moved into the raisins. What you have seen just before? You have seen a swollen egg when I kept the egg in water. So what happened here? Movement of water into the cell. That process is called endosmosis. What is it? Endosmosis. So osmosis is of two types, endosmosis and exosmosis. Endosmosis and exosmosis. Then let's consider a second case. When I kept the egg in the salty solution, the size of the egg decreased. So I have got a shrunken egg. So here what happened? The movement of water molecules from the cell to the surrounding medium. That is exosmosis. The movement of water from the cell to the surrounding medium is known as exosmosis. So did you get what is exosmosis, endosmosis and exosmosis? Is it clear now? Then let's understand the conditions required for osmosis. The two conditions required for osmosis are: first one, a selectively permeable membrane. Second one, a concentration gradient or water potential gradient. These two conditions were present in the previous activity. Semi-permeable membrane, the egg membrane acted as semi-permeable membrane. Then concentration gradient, the surrounding medium in the case of normal solution, that is highly diluted solution, more water molecules when it is compared to the cell. So that movement of water from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration, there is a concentration gradient. So these two are the conditions required for osmosis. Then osmosis is a special type of diffusion. That means it obeys the rule of diffusion. That means movement of particles from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. The movement of water across the semi-permeable membrane depends upon the concentration of the solution. That means that the amount of solute that is present in the medium. So that is called tonicity. Do you know what is tonicity? Tonicity is the ability of a solution to cause a cell to gain or lose water. Now let's summarize with the three types of solution. Those are isotonic solution, hypotonic solution and a hypertonic solution. The solutions are isotonic, hypotonic, and hypertonic. Then first of all, isotonic solution. In isotonic solution, water does or does not stop moving. Cells reach a point called dynamic equilibrium in isotonic solutions. Equal amounts of water are found inside and outside the cell. Water moves in and out of the cell equally. Next one is the hypotonic solution. Hypotonic solution is a solution or environment surrounding a cell that has less dissolved solutes and more water than the cell. This type of solution will cause water to move into the cell via osmosis, resulting in swelling of the cell. So, what is hypotonic solution? Hypotonic solution. This solution has more amount of water than solute. So, suppose a beaker containing hypotonic solution. It has more water and less solute. Then what will happen if we put a cell into the hypotonic solution? Suppose this is a cell. Okay, so what happens here? The amount of water present in the cell is comparatively very less. Here less water. So what happens here? The water molecules move from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. So what is the net result? The cell swells up. Got it? Okay, this is the action of hypotonic solution on the cell. The next type of solution is hypertonic solution. Hypertonic solution. In hypertonic solutions, water moves out of the cell. Hypertonicity causes cells to shrink. Plant cells lose water and start to wilt. The process of water moving out of a cell is called plasmolysis. More water moves out of the cells when it is kept in hypertonic solution. Now you look at the board. Suppose this is a hypertonic solution, it's a beaker with a hypertonic solution. So what is the speciality of hypertonic solution? More solute, less water. So what will happen if we put an animal cell in this type of solution? So here the amount of water is more compared to the amount of water in the surrounding medium. More water. So water molecules move out of the cell. So what is the result? The cell shrinks. Is it clear? Then what will happen if we put an animal cell or a plant cell in these three kinds of solution? Is it clear now? If we keep the cell in the isotonic solution, there is no change in size as there is no movement of water in and out of the cell. Why? Because the amount of water both inside the cell and the surrounding is equal. Second one, when it is kept in the hypotonic medium, water moves from the surrounding medium to the cell because the water present in the cell is less than that of the surrounding medium. So the cell swells up. In the case of hypertonic solution, what happens? The amount of water present in the cell comparatively higher than that of the amount of water in the surrounding medium. So what happens? Water leaves the cell. That means the cell shrinks. So these are the results of when an animal cell or a plant cell put in different types of solution. Today we have learned about osmosis, we have learned about diffusion in the previous class. Now let's understand the differences between diffusion and osmosis. Diffusion is the movement of molecules from the higher concentration to the lower concentration region. Both solute and solvent move in this case. While osmosis is the movement of water across a semi-permeable membrane from high to low solvent concentration. Only solvent moves, that means water moves. Did you get the difference between diffusion and osmosis? So today we have learned about what is osmosis. What are the two types of osmosis? Those are endosmosis and exosmosis. The conditions required for osmosis. Then different types of solutions based on their tonicity like isotonic, hypotonic and hypertonic. Then what will happen if we place a cell in these three different types of solution? I hope you understood the topic well. With this, I conclude my class. Then thank you and have nice moments.